We begin this evening with breaking news in Norfolk, where 2 people were shot inside of Macarthur Center. Police say a fight at the mall led to the shooting.
Now, while the mall is back open at this hour, police are still looking for the shooters.
News 3 is bringing you live team coverage. Margaret Cavanaugh and Samantha German are both at Macarthur Center. Brendan Ponton is at Centera Norfolk General, where the victims were taken, at least one of them.
And we begin right now with Margaret. You have been talking to people who were inside that mall when the shooting occurred. What can you tell us at this hour?
It was absolutely terrifying. Right now, police are still out here. You can see just a few moments ago, we saw one of the officers walking around. You can see him over there with a dog, canine dog, and they are still out here. And this is all part of their investigation as they try to figure out what unfolded inside of the Nordstrom Level 1, according to the general manager of the mall. We know that there were shots fired. Take a look at some of the video that we took earlier today. You can see the response just moments after police were called. Now, they say they were called because there was a fight, then there were shots fired, and they came here with and took 2 people to the hospital who had non-life-threatening injuries. Now, I've been speaking with people, lots of them, coming out of the mall. There was 2 people I spoke with who say they saw this fight unfolding. They say a group of young men were beating each other very intensely. And then this is what one of the witnesses said unfolded before the shots were fired.
One of the guys got knocked down, and when he was getting back up, he reached into his pants and pulled out a gun. It was all silver. He waited probably about 30 seconds to a minute before firing. It appeared to be possibly aiming, and he got off a couple shots, and I turned and ran, but he got off probably about 6 shots.
Yes, and I spoke with several people who said their adrenaline was just absolutely pumping as they saw and heard this and went running for the exits of the mall. They say it was chaotic inside and very upsetting as the mall was put on lockdown. Now that has been lifted. The mall is back open for business, but as you can see, police are still out here investigating and gathering evidence in the location where this shooting happened. Now, we don't have any information about a possible suspect or suspects. We keep checking in, and we will bring you the very latest if we get information about the person who is responsible for the shooting that happened earlier today. Live in downtown Norfolk, I'm Margaret Cavanaugh, News 3.
And our team coverage continues now with News 3's Brendan Ponton.
He is live at Centera Norfolk General Hospital right now, where one of the victims was taken. Brendan, any updates on their condition?
Police telling us that they are both expected to survive. Now, one of the victims was taken here to Centera Norfolk, the other to CHKD, which is, of course, right around the corner from where we are. Now, let me show you here what it looks like at Centera Norfolk. There are several police SUVs lining here the roadway, at least 4 or 5 cars right now along Centera Norfolk, all leading here to the front door of the emergency room. So we know this all began at about 2:15 this afternoon, and the good news in all of this is that at least the hospital here and CHKD are very close by to the mall. So the victims loaded into ambulances, taken over here. It's a very quick trip, and now we know that here in the last few hours they have been getting treatment here, and they are expected to survive. Non-life-threatening injuries, police telling us, related to this incident at Macarthur Mall earlier today. We have reached out to hospital staff trying to get some insight. So far, they have not gotten back to us. But this incident here continuing inside the hospital, as just a short time ago, police, more of them, pulled up and went inside. You can anticipate that they're trying to get some more information from the victims who were shot earlier this afternoon. That's the latest of what's going on here. Reporting live, I'm Brendan Ponton, News 3.
Our live team coverage continues now with News 3 reporter Samantha German.
Now, Sam, things seem to be a bit calmer than when you first arrived, right?
Yes, things are definitely calmer here. The lockdown has since been lifted, but that shooting did affect a lot of areas near this mall here, including Tidewater Community College, which was also on a brief lockdown. But just a little over an hour ago, this entire area here behind me was blocked off with police. There were also a lot of people who worked for the mall waiting to go inside, and others just wondering what was going on and if it was okay to even be out here. Now, we did speak with one employee who works right by Nordstrom, who was on her way to work when she got an emergency text from her boss saying not to come in.
That shooting happened right outside the store, and she had to hide in the back. And to not come in because it's on lockdown. Yeah, I'm worried about her right now because she sent me a video and it looks like someone's right in front of her.
Now, again, both TCC and the mall here have been lifted. The lockdown has been lifted, but police are still telling people not to go near Nordstrom when you go inside of the mall. Live in Norfolk, Samantha German, News 3.
Sam, thanks. Now, News 3 continues to follow this story up to the minute. Stay with us on air and on WTKR.com with any breaking updates as they come into the newsroom.
Here's your first warning storm team forecast with Chief Meteorologist Patrick Rocky.
Well, this morning sunshine has given way to clouds, and that's the first hints at some big weather changes on the way. And that means we've got some soggy weather ahead. In fact, we've got about a week of soggy weather to deal with. We're going to have wave after wave of storms moving through, beginning, unfortunately, this weekend. So this is a look at how much rainfall to expect as we head through around 6 o'clock on Wednesday. So we're talking 2+ inches at that point. And I don't think we're done with the rain at that point. So we're going to add to those totals as well. So your job is to get out and enjoy the dry weather while it lasts. And we've got that right now. Despite the clouds, clean sweeps across the area, and we will stay dry this evening. So get out, enjoy it, walk the dog, do whatever you can outside. Temperatures are fairly comfortable, although a little breeze off of the water has cooled things down in Hampton at 47, 46 right now in Virginia Beach. But we're still at 52 right now in Chesapeake. We're at 58 degrees in Suffolk, 56 for our friends in Hertford, North Carolina. Temperatures are going to drop to the mid to upper 40s this evening and kind of settle there. The clouds rolling in will help keep the heat of the day in, so temperatures will be fairly steady. We'll wake up to temperatures on your Friday morning in the mid to upper 40s, but temperatures are going to be soaring. So a big warm up on the way and a whole lot more wet weather to talk about in your first warning 7-day forecast.
A woman rushed to the hospital after a shooting near a busy shopping plaza in Portsmouth. It happened on George Washington Highway near Victory Boulevard just before 2 this afternoon. Now, police tell News 3 that the woman was shot and ran to a nearby store. Staff at Virginia Career Works tell us they called 911 after she ran inside. They tell us it looked like she was shot in the leg. Other workers at the plaza say they didn't hear any gunshots.
I saw a few police cars pull up, and then a fire truck and an ambulance, and then multiple more police cars, some marked, some unmarked. And naturally, that did get my attention. I went outside to see what was going on, and they were wheeling what looked like a middle-aged woman into the ambulance.
Police tell us the woman has serious injuries. No word on a shooter at the time. Police are still investigating.
A false alarm at Norfolk Naval Shipyard in Portsmouth today. The facility was on lockdown for several hours after someone found a threatening message in a bathroom. There were also reports of an active shooter. Portsmouth and shipyard police checked the base and found no shooter or threat. Employees either evacuated from the base or they tell us they were locked in their office during the lockdown. They tell us there was a lot of confusion early on about what was happening.
They had a bomb scare. So when I went out the back gate, and when I got back, he told me that they thought they had an active shooter in there too.
No word on if anyone will be arrested or charged for that bathroom threat.
Area advocacy groups are preparing to see an influx of sexual abuse survivors. They say they're not surprised by the increase. Just yesterday, the Catholic Diocese of Richmond released a lengthy list naming priests who have substantiated sexual abuse allegations against them.
News 3 reporter Allison Mechanic spoke to those groups today and explains the impact this list will have on survivors, family members, and parishioners.
Survivors that we spoke to tell us that seeing this list is a healing moment for them, but it could also be a trigger for many other people who haven't yet come forward with the abuse that happened to them. While there are resources all over the state for survivors, right here in Virginia Beach, there are many advocates waiting to talk. Whether it's on the phone or in person, Samaritan House in Virginia Beach is getting ready to help survivors who have been sexually assaulted by a priest on this list.
Any sort of violence that's perpetrated against someone and then that violence is seen in the media or brought up maybe in conversation can be triggering for someone.
The list released by the Catholic Diocese in Richmond yesterday names dozens of priests who have substantiated claims of sexual abuse against them. Survivors of priest sexual assault tell News 3 this list makes them feel vindicated after years of suffering.
I felt like crying, and I don't know why I felt that way. I guess because, it's just more validation for what happened to me.
It's a feeling survivors hope others who have been abused can also feel.
It's incredibly hard to come forward, and I hope because of this list, maybe more victims of these particular perpetrators come forward.
Regardless of how much time has passed since the abuse, advocates say they're ready to help.
We anticipate possibly an increase in services here dealing with sexual assault because it's been made public and people are seeking resources.
Resources include a specific phone line set up by the Attorney General's office called Virginia Clergy Abuse. Samaritan House can also provide counseling, shelter, and assistance for those who need it. We've provided a list of all of the resources available for survivors on our website, WTKR.com. In Virginia Beach, I'm Allison Mechanic, News 3.